Part 9. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 81. Come on too. Come on, the big one, auntie, I'm still growing, give me more. Han Qian stood at the entrance of the meal holding a plate and coquettishly interacted with the aunt who was cooking. As a result, the aunt actually gave Han Qian two of the largest pork chops. Han Qian left with the meal, and Ji Jing followed behind with a look of reluctance. Pay the money. By the window. The two sat across from each other, looking at the small set meal in front of Han Qian. Ji Jing dragged her chin with one hand and held a bottle of yogurt in the other hand, tilting her head. Have you finished eating? My eldest nephew, can you make a difference? Also, are you very confident in your plan? Are you not worried that no one will come to do business and rent shops after the mall is built? Are you not worried at all? Han Qian rolled up his sleeves and took a sip of egg drop soup, then raised his head and looked at Ji Jing with a smile. I didn't like the hot pot that I had last night. I didn't eat in the morning, so I was already starving. It's not that I have confidence in my plan, but that I won't suffer any loss no matter what I do with this plan. Our city is still developing. It is still under development. There are already many large groups preparing to expand and build shopping malls. Even if no one rents a store, we can rent the entire shopping mall to Easy Home and the like. But I mean to seize the opportunity. By the time those big groups want to move in, we have already established a firm footing. We can't always think about failure when doing things. Don't you have to think about success? After saying that, Han Qian lowered his head and took a big bite of rice. Han Qian didn't care about his image when he was eating. He wasn't in love. Even if he was in love, he didn't seem to be in love. Ji Jing frowned and sighed while drinking yogurt. Can you please slow down? No one will compete with you. My eldest nephew, I heard that you have a conflict with the people in the general department. Do you want to come to the operations department? I can apply for a high-tech job for you. Don't. Han Qian swallowed hard, then opened his eyes wide and kept hammering his chest. He picked up the egg drop soup and drank most of the bowl in one breath. He sighed and patted his chest, and spoke with a sense of surviving the disaster. Don't. I know how bad my reputation is in the company. I'm late 4 days a week, leave early 8 days, get into 2 fights, and bully my colleagues. If I hadn't written some ink, I would have been fired. Besides, Sister Yang, treat me like a younger brother. Why should I leave my younger brother alone and go to your eldest nephew? Am I sick? Yang Lan is indeed pretty. Stop your evil thoughts. Isn't it normal for you to look at other people's eyes even if you can't get married? I am good to Sister Yang because Sister Yang has helped me. What? I will fall in love with whoever I treat better. According to this, do I have a crush on Mr. Yan? Did I fall in love with you when I went to the operations department today? Han Qian's voice was loud. His words aroused the attention of the people around him, especially the last sentence. Ji Jing raised her hand and slapped Han Qian on the head. This made Han Qian anxious and said angrily. I slapped you and you washed your hands several times, so am I going to chop off my head now? There's something wrong with your head, you bitch. It's okay. You should have a psychiatrist check it out, and more. Don't watch me eat, like this I would feel like I was being displayed as a commodity. As soon as he finished speaking, Han Qian hurriedly took a big bite of rice and suddenly stopped while he was eating. He saw Gao Jishi and others leaving the company. The 2 cars drove away together. The driver was not Sun Yat. Han Qian met Gao Jishi. Sun Ya came to pick her up after work twice. Today, it looked like she was getting off work, and there were many people following her. Are you going to see Tu Xiao? Watching Gao Xing's convoy disappear, Han Qian took out his mobile phone, found Guan Dagu's number and dialed it, and asked while eating. Brother Guan, is today the day when your master and Gao Xingchen meet? Brother Han, do you believe me when I say I don't know? Where are you now? Second-hand car market. Han Qian hung up the phone directly. Guan Degu, who was looking at the car, jumped angrily when he saw the phone was hung up. If this guy hadn't talked about the car with the eldest lady last night, the eldest lady would have had a big fight with her master when she went home. Fight? If there was no quarrel, would he be sent here to buy a car early in the morning? A total of 200,000 was given. Bioz, if you don't come back in a Panamera, don't come back yet. Guan Degu was so angry that he passed away on the spot. 200,000. Should I buy a soaked car or a smuggled car? Just when he wanted to complain to Han Qian and let this guy figure out a solution, he actually hung up the phone, which made him so angry. At the same time, he thought again, this problem must be solved by Han Qian. If you let him take action, you will owe him a favor. Master, don't blame me for locking up the big dog. I do everything for the father-daughter relationship between you and the eldest lady, and for Paramela. Then Guan Degu went to find Tu Xiao, and called his master by the way, saying that Han Qian would solve the problem of the eldest daughter's car. Then, before Han Qian could leave the restaurant, Xiao Tukan called and asked when Han Qian would give her the car. Han Qian looked at Jijing in confusion, which made Jijing a little creepy. She cursed a pervert and ran away. Han Qian had no time to talk to Jijing, so after hanging up the phone, he slapped her on the dining table and said angrily, Guan Yunbiao, I'm going to hum your grandma. All the Glory employees in the restaurant looked at Han Qian with strange eyes, and there was a bit of fear in their eyes. Who is Guan Yunbiao? There is no one in the city who doesn't know this guy's reputation. He is a complete gangster, bad to the core. Han Daxian is indeed Han Daxian. No one dared to provoke him. But there was still someone who could deal with Han Qian. Within a minute after the roar, Han Qian heard the sound of high-heeled shoes approaching. When he ran away, he took a step slower and was dragged out by his ears by an angry Yang Lan. The restaurant. Han Qian. How can you curse in public? Han Qian wanted to say that he had no quality, but after thinking about it, he still didn't say it. He squatted on the steps of the main entrance of Glory and sulked. He was just being fooled, but he was tricked by Guan Degu. Han Qian was unwilling to give in. As for the relationship between Tukan and Tu Xiao, as long as Han Qian says not to give Tukan a car, Tukan will go home and quarrel with Tu Xiao immediately. Then there will be a little trouble if he talks to Tu Xiao about his voice. Han Qian firmly believed that Guan Degu didn't think so much. This grandson just found an excuse to throw the mess of Tukan's request for a good car to Han Qian. Yang Lan scolded Han Qian from the side, but Han Qian didn't take it seriously. He took out his mobile phone and dialed Guan Yunbiao's number again, scolding him. Guan Yunbiao also had a surprisingly good temper towards Han Qian and didn't refute a word. Vocal channel. My master will give me 200,000, brother Han. What can I do? I can't just rob it. You can help me with this, and I can help you with whatever you want. What the hell, okay. But I want you to find a way to release the information about the negotiations between your master and Gao Jiji and the price. No, I can't betray my master. Brother Han, please make another condition. Just tell your master that it was me who asked for it, and then I will go over and negotiate terms with him. It will definitely be more tempting than Gao's fulfillment. Tell Tu Xiao that I feel very sorry for my eldest niece, and it will make Yan Yan always give her a little animal. Let me ask. Guan Degu was unsure. He would not dare to make the decision without authorization. After hanging up the phone, Han Qian raised his head and looked at Yang Lan with a grin. Sister Yang, are you finished? I promise not to curse anyone in the restaurant again. Can I leave early this afternoon? No. My back, I'm so tired. Then you go to the lounge to rest in the afternoon. Leaving the company is non-negotiable. Forget it, Xiao Baibei and I are going to watch animations, Sister Yang. The marketing and sales departments are coming and we can't borrow it. See your performance. Han Qian sighed feebly. He had a headache. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 82. Chang Xiang's vice president was in the same situation as Han Qian now. All the work was piled on the president Lin Zongheng. When she handled some trivial matters in the morning, she spent the whole afternoon watching cartoons in the office. Knock knock knock. There was a knock on the office door, and Li Yang, the marketing manager, walked into the office. He came to the Wenwen camp because he defected after the last incident. After entering the office, he gently closed the door, put his hands in front of him, and bowed to salute. Mr. Wen, we have received some news here. Glory seems to be brewing a big plan. If you want to take action, I will prepare it immediately and have someone check it out. Nuan put away her at-home look, crossed her fingers on the table, straightened her body and said indifferently. Shouldn't you ask Mr. Lin about this? Li Yang bent his waist a little more and said softly. Mr. Wen, I think, it is better to discuss with you than with Mr. Lin. You have been in charge of the company's affairs in the past few years. As a member of Changxiang, I have to consider the future of Changxiang, not the future of Changxiang. It's a person. Surrender. Nuan's words were very straightforward. Li Yang raised his head and nodded with a smile. Yes. I understand. I know Glory's actions better than you all. It's too late to take action now. Moreover, Glory's total investment this time is only over 20 million. If we pursue it now, it will cost several times more. It's not worth it. You all should make some preparations. I will give you a big task after the company's internal affairs are settled. Go ahead and work on it. Also, I heard that your son and Li Jiai are classmates, so there is some friction? The doubts in Li Yang's heart were finally verified. He nodded in a panic, and Nuan said again after seeing this. We are all children. It is normal to have friction. You are still young. Whether you can walk into a board meeting depends on your personal ability. Thank you, Mr. Wen. Li Yang was ecstatic. Now everyone was fawning over Mr. Lin. He did the opposite and took risks. Now he was satisfied with the result. Li Yang bowed and left the office. He called the child's mother as soon as he went out. Told her to take good care of the little brat at home. Mr. Wen was really Li Jiai's elder, and he might have relatives. Wen, who stayed in the office, lay weakly on the table. He took out his mobile phone and looked at Han Qian's number, hesitating whether to call it. Glory's movements were getting bigger and bigger. Now the executives here were curious and prepared to deal with it. Wen Nuan knew clearly in his heart what Glory was doing. She was very confused. If she told the people in the company about Honor's plan, then Han Qian would most likely become Honor's sinner. She didn't want to do this, but after thinking for a long time, he still didn't call Han Qian, but called Lao Wen. After Lao Wen answered the phone, Wen Nuan suddenly regretted that he didn't want to talk to Lao Wen about these things. She had grown up. Having already moved out of the house, I asked about my parents' health and hung up the phone. Lao Wen and Li Jinhe on the other side of the phone looked at the mobile phone on the coffee table with suspicion. Has this girl changed her temper? Do you know how to care about others? Grown up? Then Lao Wen called Han Qian with doubts. During the call, Nuan Wen still couldn't withstand the pressure. She had Han Qian help him with some things before, and she had never encountered any trouble or such a tangled matter. Wen Nuan didn't say a word after dialing the phone. On the other side, Han Qian stood at the window in the corridor and looked out the window. He didn't say anything either. After 5 minutes like this, Wen Nuan suddenly choked up. Han Qian took a deep breath and said softly, "I know, let's talk about it when we get home." "Buying groceries." "Good." Wen Nuan cried rarely. We have known Wen Nuan for so long. Wen Nuan only shed tears once or twice in front of Han Qian, and it was always because of pain. To be sure, Han Qian had seen Wen Nuan howl, but he had never seen her choke. After hanging up the phone, she called her father-in-law. The person called back and said with a smile that Nuan was not feeling well and emotionally unstable recently, and that he would be fine. Lao Wen was relieved and fell silent. Han Qian still didn't hang up the phone in a hurry. Listening to Lao Wen's sigh, Han Qian grinned. "I know." After hanging up the phone, Lao Wen looked at Li Jinhe, and Li Jinhe looked at Lao Wen. The old couple sighed at the same time. Lao Wen suddenly sighed and leaned back on the sofa helplessly. "Suddenly I feel like I owe my son-in-law so much. I really owe him a lot. If he hadn't taken care of Nuan at home during those 3 years, I would have admired his talent a lot. Hey. I always feel like a talent is ruined by Xiao Nuan's willfulness. Yes, he is really smart. He is now working in Glory. His plan for Glory has aroused Chang Xiang's suspicion." Li Jinhe frowned at Lao Wen and said coldly. "What? Now that you know your son-in-law's plan, you go to help your daughter? Your daughter didn't do this, so why are you talking so much? Now you know how good Han Qian is. I don't care how capable Xiao Qian is, I know that Li Jinhe, don't you made a mistake. The thing I regret most in my life is giving birth to this little white-eyed wolf called Wen Nuan. It annoys me to talk about him. I really thought before that if he and Wen stay in a relationship, the shares in your hand will be completely lost. You can give it to Xiao Qian, maybe if he enters and enjoys it, it will be enough to give the Lin family's 2 dogs a headache. How can we get them to remarry? Drug." Lao Wen got up and left the sofa, unable to continue communicating with Li Jinhe. Drugging. This is what a villain did. How could a gentleman do such a dirty thing? Shame on being together. But let him only dare to think about it in his heart and not say it out loud. Han Qian is humble, while Lao Wen is really strict about his wife. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Han Qian was lying on the sofa in Yan Qingqing's office in a daze. Yan Qingqing ignored the sky and lowered her head to deal with the matter at hand. "Why?" Han Qian suddenly sighed. Yan Qingqing raised her head and frowned in confusion. "What's wrong? Is there something bothering you?" Han Qian sat up and poured himself a glass of water. When he looked at Yan Qingqing, his face almost wrinkled into a flower, and he sighed feebly. I. Say it. I may give Nuan a good plan, this, will you? Meeting. Han Qian lay weakly on the sofa again. What should he do? In fact, he could give Nuan a plan and use this plan to pay off the bills. But now Han Qian doesn't have much in his head. To Xiao and Gao Jingcheng the matter is not over yet. While Han Qian was lamenting, Guan Degu called. "Brother Han, the negotiation is over. The quotation is 12 million. Gao Jingcheng accepted it." Han Qian hung up the phone, lay on the sofa, looked at the coffee table, and said helplessly. "Mr. Yan, I would like to take a day off." "No. This won't work, that won't work either, me. It's cold and I want to go shopping for clothes. I ordered a set for you. You care about me more than my mother. Call mom." I'm off work. Don't tell me I left early." There was still an hour before 5:30, and Han Qian left early again. Yan Qingqing was sitting at her desk, the ballpoint pen in her hand was broken into 2 pieces. If it weren't for this guy, Yan Qingqing suddenly discovered she can't live without Han Qian now. It's not about how I feel about him personally. But at work, she found that after Han Qian appeared, her position in the group became more and more stable, and some people came to surrender. Suddenly the door was pushed open, and Han Qian came back, leaning half of his body into the door and whispering. "Does the company have any idle animals?" Yan Qingqing said coldly. "The company doesn't keep dogs. I mean Jaguar, Mustang, things like that. There is a Volvo, do you want to drive it? I will ask the logistics to give you the key later. I don't deserve a car." Han Qian left again, and this time Yan Qingqing took out a baseball bat under the table. If Han Qian came back to have fun, she would never hesitate. Han Qian didn't come back. 4:40, go home from get off work. No clocking in. There's still some time before it's released. Brother, please cast your free recommendation vote. Updates will also be announced in the group. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 83. 5:30. Han Qian was chatting with the landlady in the supermarket. Qianwan called on time and asked if Han Qian was at the company and if he wanted to go have a meal together. Han Qian looked down at the food he had bought and declined Qianwan's invitation, and then Qianwan told Han Qian that when she got off work today, Li Dongsheng suddenly said that he wanted to invite everyone to dinner. Everyone in the general department shouted, including Sul Yang, who was also invited. Only she and Han Qian was not notified. Han Qian laughed after hearing this. What's wrong with him? He's childish and you are childish too. Just don't talk to him and that's it. With his mama's boy personality, talking to him won't be of much use. Go home early after get off work and don't go to the internet cafe. I know, brother Qian'er, let's beat Li Dongsheng someday. I'll put a sack on him. You're naive too. Han Qian smiled and hung up the phone, counting silently in his mind. Within 30 seconds, the phone rang again. Han Qian didn't even look at the number. He answered with a smile. What? Did you promise Li Dongsheng? The call was from Sul Yang. Han Qian thought he had seen the person correctly. Sul Yang whispered on the other end of the phone. I didn't refuse, and I had no reason to refuse. Of course, the reason why I didn't refuse was not because of Li Dongsheng. I was worried that this grandson would set a trap for Sister Yang secretly, and Lu Zhuolong would go too. I began to think that this grandson might say something at the party. What bad things are you saying? If you think about it carefully, you shouldn't be able to say that. He's not that stupid yet, is he? Not sure. Han Qian stood up and waved goodbye to the landlady, then continued to smile into the phone. Is this what you called to tell me? Otherwise, let's not talk anymore. Sister Yang and I went downstairs. Sul Yang hung up the phone. Surprisingly, she didn't say any nonsense today. When she got home, the warmth was already at home. She had been digging into the dead cow's horns all afternoon today and never turned around. Now the glory thing makes her very happy. It's a headache. At home, Wen Nuan is a sloppy little rice bug, but in the company, she is a woman with the label of a strong woman. Seeing that glory was growing step by step, Yan Qingqing could feel proud and proud soon. She was a little unwilling and had no appetite at night. After eating less than half a bowl of rice, she put down her chopsticks and lay on the table pouting at Han Qian. At first Han Qian didn't want to talk to her, but after a while he found that Wen Nuan was still looking at him, looking as pitiful as he could be. Han Qian smiled helplessly, put down the bowl and whispered softly. Get me a glass of water. This sentence instantly gave Nuan a shot of blood. He stood up and took a bottle of mineral water from the refrigerator. He unscrewed the lid and placed it in front of Han Qian. Then he sat on the chair obediently and waited for Han Qian. Qian opened his mouth, but then realized that Han Qian had no intention of speaking. Wen Nuan was furious and shook his long black hair to express his dissatisfaction. "Stop, stop, stop, why don't you let me eat now? My hair is all in the vegetables." Han Qian stretched out his hand to hold Wen Nuan's head and frowned. "I know what you are struggling with. I also thought about it this afternoon. Now I can't, or I won't let you use your skills in Changxiang now. You have done enough in Changxiang in the past few years. You don't need to do planning to prove yourself. There is one more thing." Wen Nuan sat on the chair with disheveled hair, his hands on the chair between his legs, staring at Han Qian with a pair of big eyes, muttering in a low voice. "I know that you don't want your hard work to become a tool for the Lin family to make money, and I don't want you to do that, but I just feel very uncomfortable seeing my competitors doing things. Then when you are firmly established in the company, preferably the position of president, I will send you some big plans as gifts." "How warm. I just said that what you have to do is not to prove yourself, but to think there is no way to let Lin Zongheng ignore you and enjoy such a large group. Do you want Lao Wen's hard work to be taken away like this? You are working in the wrong direction." Wen Nuan wanted to shake his head again, and Han Qian had no intention of eating any more. He stood up and returned to the sofa with his hands on Wen Nuan's shoulders. He pressed the girl who couldn't get out of the dead end on the sofa, and then took out a bottle of milk from the kitchen and handed it to her. Nuan took the milk with both hands and sucked it into a small sip. After a while, Nuan blew the milk carton loudly and whispered, "I found that I was not obsessed with work, nor was I obsessed with the plan of glory, I just wanted to grind people." Han Qian smiled and took the milk carton from Wen Nuan's hand without saying a word. Wen Nuan sighed helplessly. "My aunt is in an unstable mood. I went upstairs to sleep. Oh. I put some more money in the drawer. Just take it when you need it." Hearing that Wen Nuan wanted to take a rest, Han Qian felt relieved, but when he walked to the stairs, Wen suddenly turned back and pointed at the sofa and looked at Han Qian. Han Qian stood up and sat on the sofa, while Wen curled up and lay on the sofa, resting his head on Han Qian's lap. Feeling the warm and even breathing, she fell asleep. A pair of hands unconsciously hugged Han Qian's waist, and she slept peacefully. Drooled a little. When a woman comes to visit her aunt, her mood will fluctuate and she will be unable to control her temper and thoughts. It is okay to be modest at this time, and Wen Nuan is not making trouble. Han Qian took the blanket and covered him with Wen Nuan. Han Qian leaned on the sofa. "Thinking about some things I have to deal with recently. The top priority is Tu Xiao's transformation. He is about to meet with this gangster. Han Qian is scared in his heart. He dares to provoke Lin Zongheng. A knowledgeable person like Gao Jingcheng does not dare to provoke a bastard like Tu Xiao." He sighed again, and then felt a pain in his stomach. He lowered his head and looked at Wen Nuan, who was looking at him with wide eyes. "Don't sigh all the time. Even your blessings are gone. Wipe your saliva. Annoying." Wen Nuan got up and turned on the TV. He lay on the sofa with his head on Han Qian's legs and watched the cartoon. It was very childish. Han Qian's mind was also involved in the cartoon. He felt a little sorry for the wolf and also hated the author. "Can't you let this wolf eat some meat? Han Qian, do you think Big Wolf looks like you?" Han Qian couldn't help laughing after hearing this. "Then do you look like the red wolf? I haven't hit you with a frying pan, no. I haven't hit you even once. I'm a bastard, I know your bottom line, ah. Han Qian, get up quickly, go get me one of those what?" Wen Nuan suddenly got up and ran to the bathroom without wearing any shoes. Han Qian, who was sitting on the sofa, was stunned, looking at Wenwen's back with a confused expression and wondering. There is paper in the toilet. You have diarrhea. I'm pulling your uncle, it's my aunt's towel. Han Qian's expression changed instantly, and he looked confused. Is this, in your room? The bathroom on the second floor, ah. Help me get a pair of underwear by the way. The Winnie the Pooh one. Han Qian. After busying for a while, Wen Nuan went upstairs angrily with a red face. Han Qian looked at Wenwen with a puzzled look. Why was he suddenly angry? I took off my clothes and took a shower. The water on my back still hurt a little, but it was bearable. Half an hour later, Han Qian opened the warm door and whispered. You're so promising, you can wash your own underwear. Boom. Pillows flew over. Love you. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 84. Han Qian, who was lying down, made a call to Yan Qingqing. After the call was answered, the woman seemed to be taking a bath. Han Qian teased her about making a video, but was a little hurt. In addition to making phone calls, your antique gadget that has to be split into 2 long text messages can also make videos. If you can, my sister won't mind. Han Qian was a little hurt and retorted in a low voice. I can fill up the whole screen with snake. When I get rich, I will replace it with a smart one that can buckle and buckle. Ha ha ha, miser. Don't you have 100,000 in your hand? Wealth cannot be lascivious, do you understand? If nothing happens tomorrow, the results of the negotiation between Gao Jixi and Tu Xiao will be announced. Are you planning to let everyone in the company know before we take action, or do you want to take action directly? People must know it. At least the directors must know that Gao Jingchen was taken advantage of. Then my sister made a quick move and directly reduced the price to 8 million. Doesn't this make my sister very powerful, right? There are risks in this matter. 4 million is not a small amount. You must be prepared for the risks. Do you understand the principle of taking the wrong approach? Han Qian, where did you get so many idioms? When you got off work, you asked whether Che was related to Tu Xiao. I won't ask you this first. I'm asking you, how much do you want to get from this transaction? 1 million. Fantasy, if you and Tu Xiao can negotiate clearly, I can raise the price to 8.5 million. Remember, the 8.5 million I'm talking about doesn't mean an empty shelf. What I want is a shopping mall that can be started directly. Besides, I can only give Tu Xiao half a year. Then give me the company's Volvo, I can use it. Do you want sister to give it to you too? Come on, sister will be waiting for you in black stockings tonight. Tell me your location. This time Yan Qingqing hung up the phone directly, and then a text message was sent. Han Qian deleted it without reading it, turned off the phone and went to sleep. As soon as the phone was turned off, the door was pushed open. Nuan came over with pillows and quilts, and got on the tatami bed very naturally. He lay down almost half a meter away from Han Qian and whispered softly with his eyes closed. I'm not feeling well, so you can't go anywhere at night. Han Qian chuckled. You are trying to put a sheep in a tiger's mouth. Han Qian, if you don't want to die, you can try. Sleep. On the other side, Yan Qingqing walked out of the bathroom, found a pair of stockings, took a look at it and threw it into the trash can. With Han Qian's cowardly temper, it was strange that he dared to come. I don't know if Wen Nuan heard it from the side. If so, if you arrive, it will definitely be interesting. When I went to bed, I thought about it and still couldn't reconcile myself to it, so I just touched my sister's leg. No. Yan Qingqing took her mobile phone and dialed Han Qian's number, but found that the grandson's phone was turned off. Yan Qingqing was furious. Damn eunuch. At the Moonbay Music Grill, Li Dongsheng reserved a box in the middle of the corridor on the second floor. From this position, he could just watch the singing performance on the stage. Tonight, Mr. Li paid the bill. Everyone was not polite. Just along. After ordering two, Li Dongsheng also bought a necklace for Wu Siquan. Of course his mother let him. Li Dongsheng's mother pampered him too much and cared too much. Otherwise, he would not have been in love at the age of 26. When he went out at night, his mother would call him every half hour. Everyone at the wine table was drinking. Suliang had seen Yang Ian's drinking capacity before. After being persuaded to drink a few glasses of wine, he let it go. He held the glass in circles and was stunned by the others' temper. Suliang sat to the left of Yang Lan, and Lu Zhuolong was naturally on her right. Suliang wanted to separate them, but the people in the general department wanted to watch the excitement and not mind the big deal, so they separated Sister Yang and Lu Zhuolong. Kowloon is arranged together. Seeing Wu Siquan like that, Suliang felt annoyed. When he lowered his head to drink, he found that Lu Zhuolong was already drunk at some point. He kept going to Yang Lan, holding the wine glass and talking about how he liked Yang Lan. Lan drank a lot of wine, but was not drunk yet. She frowned and reminded Lu Zhuolong that he had drunk too much, and dodged back. Everyone was watching the fun. Suliang couldn't help it anymore, frowned and said, "Mr. Lu, pay attention to your image, or else my sister-in-law will blame Sister Yang when she sees it one day." "Hey? Suliang, what you said is wrong. Everyone loves beauty. Besides, Sister Yang is still single. It is inevitable that Deputy Lu will like her. This has nothing to do with you. Why are you meddling in it? Is it possible? Do you like Sister Yang? Brother Li, do you think it is possible?" The guy who spoke was named Dong Bin. He was Li Dongsheng's lackey. He and Li Dongsheng had chased Wu Siquan together before. Later, when they heard that Li Dongsheng's father was a shareholder of the company, he helped Li Dongsheng make plans to chase Wu Siquan. He was a typical loser. He didn't dare to do it in the general department. Han Qian, the bully in the general affairs department, was rude to Suliang. Suliang held the wine glass and snorted with a smile. "Don't fart. If you drink too much, just lie down. If that doesn't work, why don't we drink some?" At this time, Yang Lan frowned and said to go to the bathroom. When Lu Zhuolong wanted to get up and follow him out, Wu Siquan suddenly stood up and said that he wanted to accompany Sister Yang. When he got up, he patted Dongbin on the shoulder and said with a frown, "Don't say anything drinking talk." After Yang Lan left, Dongbin seemed to be even more unscrupulous, holding a cigarette in his mouth and sarcastically said, "What's the matter? Could it be that Han Qian has fallen in love with Sister Yang, and you are here to protect the flowers? Suliang, are you a bitch? Do you think you are approaching Han Qian for Yang Lan or Yang Xia? What? You two? Just one for each person, why don't you change if you have nothing to do?" "Ah." Suliang sneered, stood up and stretched, then stepped on the chair and climbed onto the table. He grabbed a beer bottle and hit Dongbin on the head. Suddenly there were screams in the box. Suliang sneered. Liang looked at Dongbin with blood on his face and spat. "You're drafting it? If you don't know what to say, I'll help you. Isn't it just for the fight that you asked me to come? Come on." The drunken Dongbin shook his head, stood up, raised his chair and threw it at Suliang. As a result, Suliang put his foot on the chest and beat him from behind. The commotion in the box immediately attracted the attention of the staff, and security rushed to the scene. When they arrived, Yang Lan and others had already pulled Suliang away. Suliang shook off Yang Ian's hand, pointed at Dongbin and said angrily, "You're humming scolding me, I'm too lazy to care about you, and you're getting involved with someone else and I'm still humming spoiling you." Dongbin was also helped up, unable to stand steadily. At this time, the manager of Moon Bay came. Looking at the chaotic box, he glanced at Sul Yang, frowned and said coldly, "Sir, I ask you to leave and you will be responsible for the damage to our store." "How many?" 10,000 or we will call the police." Sul Yang took out the money Han Qian had given him not long ago from his clothes. When he went out, he knew that today would definitely not be an ordinary meal, so he took out 10,000 yuan and threw it in the manager's face, saying angrily, "I've reserved this humming box. Are you going to eat this meal or throw it away at our expense? Why don't you kick me out before you finish it? Okay. Give us a refund for the meal. If you want to fight, I'll fight with you." The manager's face turned ugly. At this time, Yang Lan took a bottle of water and poured it on Sul Yang's head. Sul Yang turned his head angrily, and when he found Yang Lan, he spoke. "Sister Yang." Sul Yang, whose finger was broken after saying 2 words, didn't cry, but now he was choked with sobs. Yang Lan took Sul Yang's arm and walked out of the box. "Let's go, sister will take you to the hospital to check your finger. Don't call Han Qian." When he went out, Lu Zhulong hurriedly followed him out, looked at Sul Yang and said solemnly, "I will get Dongbin away in the next few days." Sul Yang turned around and said coldly, "Don't say you don't know why the fight started, Deputy Lu, Qianer has warned you, right?" Lu Zhulong also woke up and squatted on the side of the road without saying anything. He watched Yang Lan take Sul Yang away in a taxi. After a long time, he seemed to have made a decision and took out his mobile phone to call the yellow-faced woman at home. A call came through, and Lu Zhulong said in a trembling voice, "Us. Hubby, come back if you drink too much. I'll cook porridge for you. Go home right now." After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 85. At the hospital, Sul Yang's 2 finger injuries worsened. This time he put on a plaster cast, and his whole hand was swollen like a pig's trotter. He was sitting in the emergency room with an 4 drip. Sul Yang didn't regret the 10,000 yuan at all. What he regretted was that he didn't beat Dongbin to death. Yang Lan sat with her head on her knees. Sul Yang turned to look at Yang Lan and grinned. "Sister Yang, go home and be with Xiao Baibei. I'll call Qianer and ask him to come over and accompany me. This fight will continue no matter what today. For me, for Qianer and for Sister Yang, you will fight, Sister Yang. To you I am a subordinate to a leader, but Qianer treats you as a sister, and I regard Qianer as a good buddy. If he said such things tonight, I have no reason not to take action. I will accept any punishment the company can give me. You should go back and rest early." Yang Lan sat up, covering her head that was about to burst, and said weakly with her eyes closed, I know you and Han Qian are both good to me, so I shouldn't come tonight." "No. Sister Yang, it doesn't matter whether you come or not. Now there are people who want to squeeze me out of the general department and give Qianer a kick. Even if you don't come today, there will be another fight. Why didn't they call Qianer? You didn't call Qianer, but you called me. You're all ready, and I don't know if he's asleep at this time. Don't." Yang Lan reached out and grabbed Sul Yang's cell phone and said anxiously, "Don't call him. He might cause trouble again after he comes. I'll go back to understand the situation, and then I'll talk to Dongbin about the medical expenses. I'll go back and rest early after I'm done with the 4 drip. I feel uncomfortable. Just have a day off tomorrow." Yang Ian's sincere words made Sul Yang give up calling Han Qian. Half an hour later, the two left the hospital. Yang Lan was in a very bad state of mind when he returned home. Xiao Yangjia, who was responsible for taking care of Baibei, asked in confusion. Yangjia didn't answer, she hugged her sister and whispered with sobs that it was okay. How could a biological sister not feel her sister's thoughts? Little Yangjia became angry and gritted her teeth. Did the people from the General Affairs Department bully you again? No. No, I just feel uncomfortable. Yang Lan didn't want Yang Jia to be angry or wronged with her. After crying, she went to the bathroom, washed her face and hurriedly lay down. Little Yang Jia stood outside the bedroom door, clenching her teeth. What she was most angry about was her sister's cowardly temperament. She always thought that the world would be brighter if she took a step back, and never learned to resist in the past. Early the next morning, Han Qian chose the bus. Today he deliberately left early and returned to the terminal, then took an empty bus and turned back, so that he could avoid racing against time with the old men. Surprisingly, he was not late. Han Qian thought that his lateness was an accident. The security guard and the front desk thought that there was something wrong with Han Daxian are going to work on time today, so he said hello to the little girl at the front desk. He had been here for so long and he didn't know her name. He walked into the general department and said hello with a smile, but Jianwan was the only one who responded. The atmosphere in the general department became even lower and more serious. Everyone was sitting down with their heads down and doing whatever they were doing, even if they didn't have any work, they were trying their best. Going to do something, this surprised Han Qian. When he sat down, he saw Suliang's rebandaged hand, and Han Qian smiled. What's going on? Are you using your injuries to trick the little girl's tears again? Liang please teach me how to get along with girls. Suliang didn't have much interest in talking to Han Qian. He lay on the table and sighed helplessly. This made Han Qian even more curious about what happened yesterday. He raised his head and looked at De Qian'er. De Qian'er was playing the game seriously, as if still don't know what happened. Han Qian felt more and more that something was wrong. Yang Lan was late and had not come yet. Lu Zhuolong was also busy preparing various documents and kept going in and out of the general department. It seemed that he was hiding something. Han Qian stood up and left the general department. When he clearly felt that someone was leaving, someone sneered, and someone sighed. It would be better to ask Yang Jia about this matter. Xiao Bagua knew better, and it turned out that Yang Lan had gone. The hospital said someone was hospitalized in the general department. This made Han Qian even more surprised. After thorough questioning, he still couldn't find out the reason. Han Qian asked again when Mr. Yan was not in the office. Xiao Yangjia told Han Qian that Yan Qingqing had gone to a meeting. Han Qian knew that it should be a matter between Gao Jixi and Tu Xiao. This matter did not require too many twists and turns. Yan Qingqing only needed to make a certain decision at the high-level meeting, and leave the rest to him. Not wanting to go back to the general department, Han Qian was about to go downstairs when he met Lu Zhuolong. This guy had some documents in his hand and said he wanted to send them to the Human Resources Department. Han Qian didn't say anything to this guy no matter what. Things were getting weirder and weirder. Han Qian frowned when he went upstairs and returned to the general department. Why are the police here? Moreover, they wanted to take Suliang away and confront the police. It was a fool's behavior. Han Qian politely asked what happened. The police told Han Qian that Suliang had injured the person and that the other party had gone to examine the injury and determine the disability. Now we need to take Suliang back to take notes. I'll go with you, and more. Please open the handcuffs. Now my colleague's hands are also injured. It's not sure who was injured. If my colleague is the victim, you put handcuffs on him like this. It will affect his image in the company. If things end up like this, I will go to the government office to sue you. You cannot put handcuffs on him until he is convicted. Han Qian also had a tough attitude. He knew not to provoke the police, but he also roughly knew how to deal with them and the general process. When they were going downstairs, Han Qian told Suliang not to be nervous and behave calmly. Don't be nervous. Nothing happened. The two walked out of the company chatting and laughing. When they went out, Qianwan chased after him and handed Han the car key. Modesty. Brother Qian'er, I'll go with you. Qianwan changed cars, and it was still a supercar, a yellow McLaren GT. When Han Qian was holding his cell phone and wondering whether to call for help, Qianwan spoke. Brother Qian'er, you don't have to worry about this matter. I called my aunt. I owe Brother Liang a favor. I brought my card. Things that can be solved with money are not things. When I went to work today, I felt like something is wrong. Dongbin didn't come. Han Qian smiled and shook his head. You don't need to ask Director Qian to come forward. It's not a big deal. Why did you suddenly change your car? Did your aunt reward you? Qianwan shrugged and curled her lips. My brother, when he was alive, he loved cars and supercars. He was proficient in all aspects, including English, Japanese, let's put it this way, proficient in piano, chess, calligraphy, and painting, all musical instruments, good at basketball and tennis, and won prizes in fencing. In Mongolia, he was very good at horseback riding, archery, wrestling, and even women's cosmetics. At that time, he said that he had nothing to pursue in his life. Within 2 months, he met my uncle when he went out to play golf. There was a car accident, and my uncle died on the spot. My brother was paraplegic at a high level in his lower limbs. When he was hospitalized, he came down the stairs in a wheelchair. He was only 23 years old, taller, more handsome, and kinder than you. Committed suicide. Han Qian felt very uncomfortable after hearing this. Maybe others didn't understand why he chose to commit suicide in the end, but Han Qian could understand his feelings. He had pride in his bones. He worked hard to make his life perfect, but the result was that he lying on the bed, he had to be waited on even when he peed. He couldn't accept this kind of life. Self-esteem and pride can really kill people. If someone knew that Han Qian chose to divorce 2 months in advance and was in debt, they would definitely call him a fool. Wouldn't it be enough if he persisted for 2 months? But Han Qian didn't want to wait until the day he was kicked away, and he also wanted to preserve his last bit of dignity. Proud people live a tiring life. Brother Qian'er, you are quite similar to my brother. If he were still alive, he would probably be about the same age as you. Han Qian sighed softly. Be nice to your aunt, she will only have you as her junior. What if I told you that my aunt had a miscarriage because of my brother's death? Grass. Han Qian couldn't help but curse. Why would God take away the last life-saving straw when taking away a person's life? All the way to the police station, Han Qian made a call to Guandegu. Go to Moonbay to find a manager. After asking, you can decide what to do. I will drive to your company tomorrow. Han Qian was in a very depressed mood, and Qian Ling's story made it difficult for Han Qian to laugh. When Su Yang was asked about the transcript, Yang Lan came. When she saw Han Qian and Qianwan, she knew that the matter could not be hidden. Dongbin doesn't want money, so he must hold Su Yang accountable. Han Qian raised his head and asked with a frown. Determined to be injured. Level 9. Han Qian lowered his head and sighed. Level 9. 6 months of criminal detention. Is it that serious to be given a bottle of wine? Is there someone behind this? Which hospital is Dongbin in? I'll go over and have a look. Sister Yang, you're here. Don't wait. Take the matter to the procuratorate, and I'll go talk to Dongbin. Blame me. Yang Lan lowered his head and uttered these 2 words weakly. Han Qian stood up and patted Yang Lan on the shoulder, laughing softly. Then be tougher next time. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 86. Han Qian took Qian Wan's car key and left the police station. When he went out, he met Lu Zhuolong, who came in a hurry. Han Qian said to get in the car, and Lu Zhuolong nodded in agreement. In the car, Lu Zhuolong explained the matter very clearly, and there was no pick yourself out. Han Qian frowned and drove, saying in a deep voice, "Mr. Lu, I've told you once, forget it. We are all adults. I can only kindly remind you about your matters. Are you sure it was Dongbin who humiliated Sister Yang and Yang Jia first?" "Yes. And it's hard to hear." When he saw Dongbin lying on the bed in the hospital, Han Qian ignored him and read the doctor's diagnosis first. He suffered a heavy blow to the head and had signs of loose teeth. That's all. Han Qian couldn't figure out how to diagnose the injury. When he walked into the ward, Han Qian stood beside Dongbin's bed and said coldly, "Tell me how to solve it." Dongbin glared at Han Qian, gritted his teeth and said fiercely, "If he doesn't accept mediation, I will send him to jail and lose his job." Han Qian shrugged and said softly, "Okay, you don't accept compensation, right? Last night you made rude remarks and humiliated Yang Lan and Yang Jia. Yang Jia has told Mr. Yan. No matter who is behind you to help you, you will be fired by honor, and the company will give you the reasons for your dismissal. Release to partners, this is one. Second, you have the connections to determine the injury, and I also have the connections to let Suliang stay in the detention center for 3 days before being released. As a result, he can still return to the company to work. I don't believe that Li Dongsheng can support you for a lifetime. You will be of no use if you leave the general department, you know." When he arrived, Guan Degu had already called Han Qian and asked him about the matter. Someone told the manager that someone would make trouble tonight and asked him to blackmail him and call the police. As for who this person was, Han Qian had already told him the name was spoken, and at the same time Guan Degu also told Han Qian that the money was coming back. After Han Qian finished speaking, Lu Zhuolong took out the dismissal contract and placed it beside the bed, glaring at Dongbin and yelling, "I have recordings of what you said last night. Even if you are a victim, these recordings will completely make it impossible for you to survive in the city, and will also let your family and friends around you know that you are. Why were you beaten and fired? Now you have 2 ways to go. Accept mediation and transfer you to the branch to continue working as an employee, or sign this dismissal contract and stay in the hospital with peace of mind." Dongbin sneered. "Are you trying to intimidate me?" I said, "I will not accept mediation." Han Qian nodded slightly. "Okay. The money to compensate you can be used to provide Suliang with bail for interrogation. Then I will ask Mr. Yan and Qian Wan's aunt to find out who determined your disability for your minor injuries. If you want to make a big fuss, we will just make the matter bigger, Deputy Lu. I will send a copy of the recording to the legal department later and let them see if they can pursue Dongbin for defamation and infringement of other people's reputations because of this matter. It's absolutely fine. I already called the legal department when I came here." The two sang in harmony and walked out of the ward, paying no attention to Dongbin, who was lying on the bed with a pale face. Lu Zhuolong was not useless. He could be the deputy minister, and the position of deputy manager also had his abilities. After the two of them went downstairs, before they could even walk to the parking lot, Lu Zhuolong's phone rang. Lu Zhuolong raised his head and glanced at Han Qian to answer the call. Dongbin is still scared. But he also put forward conditions: 20,000 yuan, and the transferred branch must be from a neighboring city, and ask Suliang to apologize to him in person. Han Qian accepted the first 2 points, but the apology was definitely not an apology, but I need to apologize to Sister Yang. If you don't accept it, let's not talk about it. At noon, Suliang walked out of the police station. Dongbin finally accepted the proposal of Han Qian and Lu Zhuolong. Yang Lan prepared 10,000 yuan, plus the 10,000 yuan that Guan Degu asked for from Moon Bei, exactly 20,000 yuan was given to Dongbin. Things come to an end here. Qianwan complained unwillingly that he should be fired. Back at the company, Han Qian told Suliang to act as if nothing had happened after he went back. Later, he would pay Sister Yang's 10,000 yuan. Suliang took out 5,000 yuan from his pocket and handed it to Han Qian. Qian smiled and slapped him, scolding him with a smile. Keep your 5,000 yuan. It's much easier for me to make money than for you. Work hard and save some money for the new year. I'll go to Mr. Yan first. Han Qian knew the whole process. At the beginning, Suliang didn't do anything and wasn't angry. Later, Yang Lan and Han Qian took action when things got involved. Another thing is that Han Qian didn't take money too seriously. He owed $400. Where's Juan? What's wrong with you, melons and jujubes? He went to Yan Kingking's office. Now the staff on the 14th floor are used to it. This Han Daxian basically comes twice a day. When Suliang returned to the office, he saw an envelope on the table. After opening it with confusion, he found that it contained 2,000 yuan and a note. After reading it, Suliang stood up, took the envelope, walked to Lu Zhuolong, and said softly, "Vice Lu. It's all my fault. I can't control my bad habits. I can't get the money from home. I saved some private money. I'm trying to make amends and apologize. I'm not saying I'm giving you alms. It's not easy for Lan Lan, an orphan and a widowed mother. I will also contribute a small amount, okay? Let's get to work." Lu Zhuolong didn't give Suliang a chance to shirk, and stood up to deal with Dongbin's transfer of positions. Suliang looked at the envelope in his hand, feeling a little uncomfortable. He now regretted his impulse last night, and involved people around him for a moment of pleasure. People. This is not helping them, but harming them. Just when Qianwan was about to get up, Suliang got up and ran away. But he couldn't take everyone's money anymore. Han Qian gave it, and Suliang would take it and pay it back, but the others, let's forget it. Suliang actually didn't. There is too much stress in my heart, everything is over. The most worried and uncomfortable person was Yang Lan. She believed that this matter was her fault. She had implicated Suliang and had to pay 20,000 yuan in compensation. Lu Zhuolong also knew that it was his fault and he could not give much help. Do everything we can. The atmosphere in the general department became even more gloomy. Li Dongsheng was the only one holding a straw in his mouth and looking at Erlang's legs. He was watching these guys in front of him worrying and embarrassed for such a small amount of change. Such a scene was simply not too pleasant. As for Dongbin, Mom said, "This kind of people are despicable dogs. Give them some bones when you use them, and just kick them away when you don't need them. It's useless to keep them. Oh, a bunch of poor people." Li Dongsheng sneered, and everyone in the general department felt a little uncomfortable. Qianwan turned to look at Li Dongsheng, cast a look of disdain, and curled his lips. "Mama's boy. I'm waiting for you in the group. Besides, I'm not short." After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 87. Is there food? This was the first sentence Han Qian said after sitting in silence for 10 minutes in the office. Then Yan Kingking's high heels flew over and she shouted angrily, "Do you think this is a canteen?" Yan Qingqing lost her high heels and shouted angrily. She still picked up the landline and called Xiao Yangjia and asked her to deliver 2 lunches. She also specifically asked what Han Qian wanted to eat. Han Qian lay weakly on the sofa and he said something casual, and then another pair of high heels landed on Han Qian's belly in a sliding arc. Han Qian raised his arms high on the back of the sofa, with a pair of black high heels hanging on his 2 fingers, and sighed carelessly. How did the meeting go? What's the attitude of the senior management towards Gao's 12 million? Did you propose that you also contact Tu Xiao and renegotiate the price? We have also received several quotes, and the lowest one is almost the same as what you said to Tu Xiao. Han Qian, please return the shoes to me. Yan Qingqing curled up on the chair, holding her legs with her hands and staring at Han Qian. Han Qian ignored these words and kept to himself. Hey! I'm going to see Tu Xiao tomorrow. I feel a headache just thinking about it. Will this black boss chop me up and feed it to the fish? I can chop him off 4 million in one go. Thinking about it, I feel like I'm a bit wicked, Ching Ching. How are you going to reward me? If you call me Ching Ching, I'll sew your mouth shut and call you Mr. Yan. Reward? Didn't I send you my address last night? I don't know who's scared, but their phone has been turned off. Yan Qingqing crumpled up the tissue paper on the table and threw it at Han Qian. There was no damage at all, and Han Qian didn't take it seriously. After smashing it for a while, Yan Qingqing got tired and asked Han Qian for shoes again, but Han Qian still didn't have any. After paying attention, Yan Qingqing took out her slippers from under the table, walked to the sofa, and then sat sideways on Han Qian's belly. This time, Han Qian almost vomited out his stomach. Han Qian threw away the high heels in his hand, slapped Yan Qingqing on the waist, and gritted his teeth. I won't let you kill Tu Xiao until I chop him up. Get up. You're such a big girl, how can you be so thick-skinned? Get up. Yan Qingqing was not affected by Han Qian's words at all, and she even crossed her legs, pinched her chin and said suspiciously. You are obviously here to ruin Tu Xiao's job. How confident are you that you can convince Tu Xiao? If you can promise to pay him the full amount in advance, I can lower the price a little bit. Let me consider it. By the way, if no one drives that Volvo, I will give it to Tu Xiao as a gift from you. Let me consider it. Consider your uncle, if you can go down first. As soon as Han Qian finished speaking, little Yang Jia opened the door and came in. The little girl blushed instantly when she saw the scene in the office. Mr. Yan was sitting on Han Qian's body, and there were paper balls all over the floor. This scene was very difficult. It's hard to think too much, Xiao Yang Jia lowered her head and whispered. Mr. Yan, brother Qianer, please continue, I'll wait for you. Don't let this little secretary think too much. Han Qian slapped Yan Qingqing's buttocks, sat up and frowned. If you don't get up, let this little gossip misunderstand the whole company. Yang Jia, please listen to my explanation. You and I, Mr. Yan, are joking around. I know. Brother Qianer, the food is here. I'm going out first. I can't hear it, really. The picture became darker and darker. Han Qian sighed feebly, took the food on the table and stuffed it into his mouth. Yan Qingqing, who was sitting aside, thought more and more that something was wrong. She pinched Han Qian's face with both hands and forcibly broke off this guy's head. Come over and ask with a serious look on your face. What's the matter? You're at a disadvantage because of the scandal with your sister? Han Qian, you don't even look at it. How many suitors does your sister have? Is she not good enough for you? Match. Then the rice in his mouth sprayed on Yan Qingqing's chest. Han Qian panicked when he saw this. He grabbed a tissue and went to wipe it with Yan Qingqing. Then he felt something was wrong. When he was about to take back his hand, he heard a sound from the door. Exclaimed, Han Qian turned around and cursed. Little Yang Jia, you're humming sneaky. If you dare to tell nonsense, I'll rip your head off. Little Yang Jia ran away. Yan Qingqing's face was already green. She rubbed Han Qian's face mercilessly with her hands. Han Qian was too lazy to pay attention to her. She played with hers and he ate his. Finally, Yan Qingqing began to play with Han Qian's face. Han Qian couldn't bear the trouble any longer. He turned around and glared at Yan Qingqing, then took a spoonful of rice and handed it to Yan Qingqing, saying angrily, "If you're greedy, I'll feed you a bite. Come on, ah. Mr. Yan, Hankinze." Han Qian just threw the spoon away. What a big deal. Don't these guys need to knock on the door when they enter Yan Qingqing's office? This time, Yan Qingqing's expression also changed. She looked angrily at Ji Jing, who had a gossipy face, and said angrily, "Aunt Ji, can you knock on the door when you come in?" Ji Jing stared at Han Qian and Yan Qingqing with interest, the fire of gossip burning in her eyes, waved her hand and whispered, next time, next time. You two just treat me like air. Have you started feeding me?" Han Qian gritted his teeth, glared at Ji Jing, and replied in a low voice, "Aunt Ji, if you want to be envious, I can chew it up and feed it to you." "No, no, keep going." "Shall I continue, sir?" "What the hell is going on?" Little Yang Jia misunderstood, and Aunt Ji was the one behind. "It's bad luck for me. Mr. Yan, please give me 10,000 yuan. I can use it." Han Qian didn't want to stay in this office for a minute. After saying this, Yan Qingqing didn't react at all. Han Qian tilted his head and looked at Yan Qingqing in confusion, thinking that Lady Yasha's ears were broken. Then Ji Jing curiously asked Yan Qingqing if she was keeping Han Qian, a pretty boy. Han Qian was furious, slammed the door and walked out, roaring, "Aunt Ji, you and I are at odds with each other. It's okay, I don't care. Qingqing, tell me, how did you and my eldest nephew get along so well? No wonder he calls me Aunt Ji and you call me the same, oh. You told me earlier, Han Qian. Auntie will give you a bag Hongbeo, don't leave." Ji Jing was still immersed in the gossip. She didn't realize that Yan Qingqing had returned to the desk, pulled out a baseball bat under the table, gritted her teeth and glared at Ji Jing. 5 minutes later. The explanation was clear, but Ji Jing still didn't believe it, and Yan Qingqing didn't bother to talk to her. She took out 10,000 yuan from the drawer and put it on the table, unable to say anything. You go and send it to Han Qian. Don't provoke him all the time if you have nothing to do. He may go to see Tu Xiao tomorrow. I'm a little worried about his safety now." Ji Jing was stunned after hearing this, and then screamed. "Going to the meeting alone? What is he going to do?" Yan Qingqing lay weakly on the table, drew circles on the table with her fingers, and whispered, "You also attended the morning meeting. Han Qian is going to lower the price to less than 8 million to prove that my ability is much better than Gao Fulai. Tu Xiao's reputation is made by cutting and killing. In short, just don't mess with Han Qian. I feel a little sorry for him now. I didn't even finish lunch before you messed it up. Isn't the eldest nephew too confident? Give him the money directly. I mixed it up and invited him out to eat." After saying this, Yan Qingqing suddenly tensed up, stared at Ji Jing, and said in a low voice, "You don't eat with men, Ji Jing. You'd better be honest. You don't want it, I want it. I have no objection to Han Qian. His ex-wife is a source of warmth. You also said that she is your ex-wife. I will leave first." Han Qian did not eat the meal, but slapped 10,000 yuan on Su Yang's table. Han Qian found a corner and pulled up a chair, covered his face with a book, and shouted to Yang Ian's office. "Sister Yang, prepare the contract. I will go to the execution ground tomorrow. I will not come to the company to report tomorrow morning." After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 88. The last thing Han Qian wants to do now is to go home. The warmth comes and his aunt is harassing people at home. If he goes back today, he might be noisy about eating ice cream and popsicles. If he doesn't buy them then, something might happen again. Come. Clock in from get off work. Han Qian stood at the front entrance of Ranjiao for a long time, not wanting to take that step. When he took a deep breath and prepared to go home, Suliang's voice came from behind. Han Qian turned around and saw Suliang and Diqian'er, tilting his head. Doubted. What do you two want to do? Suliang bumped Han Qian's arm with his arm and grinned. Then you said you were going to see Boss 2 tomorrow. We can't help you. Why don't you go have a drink? Let's have a drink and enjoy ourselves. It's a big money treat. Are these two guys going to treat us to dinner? Suliang was a little big-hearted, but maybe she wanted to drink some wine and be happy. Han Qian was a little entangled. At this time, Qianwan also started to encourage Han Qian to go out for a drink, and there were not many small stalls near her home. Money. To say that the status of the rich man in the office is not as good as that of Li Dongsheng, this girl does not regard herself as a rich second generation at all. Before Han Qian could answer, Lu Zhuolong hurried over, put his arm around Han Qian's shoulders and smiled. Do you have time in the evening? Your sister-in-law cooked at home. Han Qian, let me tell you, your sister-in-law used to have a chef certificate. Going to Lu Zhuolong's house for dinner? Han Qian understood what this guy meant instantly. He wanted Han Qian to know that his wife's temper and personality would not bring trouble to Yang Lan. This guy hadn't given up yet. Qianwan on the side was a little unhappy and muttered in a low voice. It was she who first proposed to have dinner with brother Qian'er, and Deputy Lu should wait until next time. Lu Zhuolong waved his hand and said that he could eat out any day. It was not easy for his wife to cook. Qianwan did his part and shouted that he didn't see the excitement last night. He couldn't compete with her today. He just wanted to go have a drink with Han Qian and Suliang. I haven't had a drink for a long time. Daqian'er is also a little selfish. Now that she can go drinking with Han Qian, Qianling can rest assured. The two groups started arguing regardless of whether Han Qian had time. Seeing that they were about to quarrel, Han Qian was helpless. Honey, listen. Shut up. Shut up. Lu Zhuolong and Qianwan scolded Han Qian at the same time. Han Qian looked helpless. When he was about to find a chance to escape, Aunt Ji and Yang Lan appeared in Han Qian's sight. Ji Jing came all the way away. He waved to Han Qian. Eldest nephew, auntie, and your sister Yang are here to practice for you. You choose the place. Auntie treats you. By the way, you can heal your sister Yang's mental wounds. Han Qian leaned his head forward and instantly felt that something was not quite right. What happened today? You didn't call him when the general department had dinner yesterday, but starting today, you're all rushing to have dinner with him? Han Qian looked at Diqian'er and then at Lu Zhuolong. This time he was very obedient and didn't speak. Anyway, he would be scolded if he said anything, so he just stopped talking. Ji Jing and Yang Lan walked hand in front of Han Qian. Ji Jing's strange problem didn't matter the occasion or place, so she couldn't help but distance herself from Lu Zhuolong and Suliang. Lu Zhuolong heard that Yang Lan was going to eat. He immediately gave up on dragging Han Qian home, but Daqian'er did his part, stepped forward, grabbed Han Qian's arm, and said to the two of them. Brother Liang'er and I have made an appointment with Qian'er to eat at a street stall. Sister Ji, you don't want to go to a street stall to eat, right? Ji Jing looked at Diqian'er and Han Qian with a suspicious look on her face, holding Yang Ian's hand with one hand as she was about to leave, and holding her chin with the other and whispered. It's not impossible. I've never been there. With two violent maniacs like Han Qian and Suliang here, no one will come to harass them. Lan Lan, go ahead and take Xiao Baibei and Yang Jia with you. I'll treat you. He directly ignored Lu Zhuolong. Old Lu was very embarrassed. He scratched his head and said that he would meet Han Qian next time and trotted away. Han Qian looked at the situation in front of him and it seemed that he couldn't escape. When he was about to agree, he saw Gao Jingcheng and Sun Ya walking towards the side. Han Qian gave a helpless smile. Ji Jing's face instantly became cold and she took a step towards Han Qian. The distance was longer than what she said. 3 meters, less than 1 meter. These people didn't pay much attention to Gao Jiji, and directly ignored Ji Jing, De Qianer and others, and smiled at Han Qian with his signature smile. You have time tonight? Let's have dinner together. I think there may be some misunderstandings between the two of us that shouldn't exist. Gao Fulas who opened his invitation, but De Qianer didn't dare to say anything anymore. Gao Fulas whose identity was not much different from hers. She belonged to Rong Ao's gangster, and Gao Fulas who was an elite with real qualities. Ji Jing suddenly stretched out too. He pinched Han Qian's sleeves with his fingers and smiled at Gao Qian. I'm afraid Vice President Gao will be disappointed. We already have an appointment. Gao Chen narrowed his eyes at Ji Jing and chuckled. Does Minister Ji want to discuss business with Han Qian? If it's not business, then we'll be together next time. I'm looking for Han Qian to talk about the company. His abilities have been rumored by people in the company to be mysterious. With such a talent, I think I should do some digging, and you can go and drive next time at the Little Yachting Hotel. Gao Fulai didn't give Ji Jing any face at all. He knew that Ji Jing was a general in Yan Qingqing's camp, and there was no need to give him face. Under Gao Fulai's strength, Ji Jing felt powerless, and Yang Lan hesitated but didn't dare to speak. She really didn't dare. Han Qian wants to have dinner with me tonight. President Gao will make an appointment with him on another day. I'm afraid he may not be able to survive today. Han Qian, go drive. A car key arced across the air and landed in Han Qian's hand. The Yasha Empress is here. Gao Jijing didn't give Ji Jing any face, and Yan Qingqing didn't give him face either. At this time, Gao Jijing began to curse this dominatrix who came out halfway, but he still had a smile on his face and said softly. In that case, I'll make an appointment with little brother Han Qian tomorrow. Yan Qingqing walked to the crowd, handed the bag to Yang Lan, stepped forward and kicked Han Qian on the knee, and then said. He will have a day off tomorrow. Mr. Gao chose the wrong day. When Han Qian is free, I will let someone inform Mr. Gao. Why don't you go drive and wait for reincarnation? Gao Jishi didn't smile at Yan Qingqing, but when he walked there, he gave Han Qian a smile. This guy's smile was very special, with his upper and lower teeth clenched together in a grin. Han Qian frowned and looked at Gao Jishi's leaving figure. It was not until the car disappeared from sight that he came back to his senses and gave the car keys to Yan Qingqing, but Yan Qingqing didn't take it and frowned. Didn't you hear me asking you to drive and have dinner together tonight? Han Qian tilted his head and looked at Yan Qingqing, wondering. When did you say we wanted to have dinner together? Just now, Aunt Ji and De Qianer invited me to have dinner together. Are you coming? Yan Qingqing frowned and said doubtfully. You want to go to dinner? Where? The street stall downstairs in my house is very lively at night, but I think we should change places. You three beauties, including me, a little girl, they can't protect me. De Qianer originally wanted to say that she was a little beauty, but looking at the looks of the three sisters around her, she couldn't muster up the courage. Yan Qingqing pouted at De Qianer's words and looked at Han Qian with disdain. Who dares to provoke brother Han who shuts up the big dog? We were bullied because he didn't want to protect us sincerely. Just do what you said and drive. 6 people, 4 cars. The yellow McLaren supercar took the lead, followed by the red Raptor, followed by the white Bora, followed by Ji Jing's white BMW 525. The woman drives and the 2 men sit in the car. 4 rich women. Han Qian sat in the passenger seat of Yang Lan, and Sul Yang sat in the back seat. Originally, Yan Qingqing wanted Han Qian to drive her car, but Han Qian didn't dare. This bitch was wearing high heels. Not long after he walked out, Han Qian's cell phone rang. Looking at the number on the phone, Han Qian slapped his forehead. How could he forget this aunt? Han Qian, where are you? Well, I'm going to have a meal with my colleagues. Yan Hu is here too. It should, probably, be there. Send me the location. Nuan hung up the phone directly, and Han Qian leaned on his chair and completely lost his desire to live. 5 rich women. And when Nuan is going to meet Yan Qingqing again? I couldn't resist the temptation of money. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 89. On the road, McLaren and Raptor took the first step. The 2 cars behind them really couldn't catch up with these 2 gas-drinking monsters. Yang Lan drove very steadily. He first accompanied Jijing to deliver the car, and then in a car passed. While Jijing was changing clothes, Yang Lan asked Han Qian softly who was coming over. Is it a girl? Han Qian got out of the car and entered the back row, sighing feebly. You'll know when you get here, Sister Yang. I feel like I won't survive today again. Yang Lan laughed out loud and said angrily. You can't curse yourself. Not long after, Jijing calmed down. This girl had a hot figure to begin with, so she changed into a casual outfit, dark jeans, white short sleeves, and her hair was combed into a ponytail. She looked a few years younger. The smell of hormones is also a bit stronger. Sul Yang had no interest in women who were older than him. As for Han Qian, he didn't have the heart to appreciate it. 4 people per car, Jijing replaced Yang Lan from the driver's seat, adjusted the seat, and complained to Yang Lan driving really slowly. Then Bora jumped out at a speed it shouldn't have. Han Qian grabbed the armrest. Why are women nowadays more fierce than men? Aren't you supposed to be gentle and weak? Lan, didn't you say you wanted to change your car? What are you going to change? Yang Lan sat lazily in the passenger seat and whispered. I want to switch to a Tesla. My old house at home has been demolished and Yang Jia doesn't have a car. I'm thinking of giving her this Bora to practice. Teslas don't seem expensive. The cheapest one costs less than 400,000, right? Listen. It's fun to say that car can dance to the music. Then just change it, it won't cost much. Han Qian and Sul Yang, who were sitting in the back seat, didn't want to interrupt at all. How much money do they have for the 400,000 yuan car? Don't buy a car based on performance, but whether it can dance. Really? Men and women are creatures of 2 worlds. At this time Jijing suddenly spoke to Han Qian. Are you ready to see Tu Xiao tomorrow and not be chopped to death? That old guy is not a cheap man. Tell your sister before he dies and she will collect his body for you. Han Qian curled his lips and replied. What's going on? Are you going to collect my pension? We need to get the certificate first. Bah! Tusks came out of the dog's mouth. Spit out one and let me see. Lan, you drive. Sul Yang, here you come, Han Qian. Auntie takes care of you. I'm going to eat more oysters and leeks later. I've been having pain in my back lately. Arguing with Jijing, Han Qian couldn't give in even a word. The 2 of them argued all the way to a small street stall, a very simple shelter with the logo of some beer on it. After the 4 of them sat down, Yan Qingqing muttered, It's really annoying. Jianwan shouted to the landlady. Sister, I'll have one from the menu, 2 boxes of beer first, a pure beer, and a big cup. As soon as he finished speaking, when Han Qian was about to stop this girl from squandering money, he heard a sudden break, and the tires and the road made a screeching sound. Han Qian felt so sorry for the tires of the car, and he didn't know what fool drove the car. When he saw the white paramela only half a meter away from the raptor, Han Qian started sweating on his forehead. Then I saw a long-legged goddess wearing a fairy skirt getting out of the car. The pair of high heels on her feet were very eye-catching. The first impression this woman gives people is that she is tall. Very high? Very high. Wearing high heels, which is almost 1.8 meters tall, brings a strong visual impact to people, but for Han Qian, this is heart-stimulating. Warmth is coming. Ji Jing frowned and looked at the warmth coming slowly. Vice President Wen of Changxiang? Why is she here? I really envy her legs, how nice they are for me. Yang Lan said immediately. I've only heard about this girl before. This is the first time I've seen this girl. I heard that she's about the same age as Han Qian. Her family has a strong background, and her relatives are all powerful people in the government office. Han Qian. Don't tell me, sister. Is this the aunt who called you just now? Han Qian closed his eyes and nodded feebly, lamenting. That's her, the one you call my ex-wife. The matter could no longer be concealed, and there was no need to hide it any longer. His words made everyone sitting calm down. In the past, it was all speculation and hearsay, but now the vice president of Changxiang was standing beside Han Qian. Behind him, he put his hands on this guy's shoulders and greeted everyone with a smile. When we first met, I am Nuan, his ex-wife. Everyone can just call me Nuan, except Yan Hu. Huh. Everyone was a little confused about what to do in this situation. Suliang stood up and was about to give up his position. Ji Jing took a step to the rescue. At a square table, Ji Jing and Yan Qingqing sat on one side, Suliang and Yang Lan sat on the other side. Qian Wan was close to the warmth, and Han Qian occupied one side by himself. The place is very relaxed, but Han Qian's heart is very tight. Now there are all people from honor here, and when Nuan doesn't feel nervous or embarrassed. It seems that at her level, she won't feel embarrassed. The barbecue was delivered in the same manner. Suliang's hands were inconvenient. Yang Lan wanted to wait for the wine, but Han Qian took it over. Just as he opened a bottle of beer, Yan Qingqing and Wen Nuan spoke at the same time. Give it to me first. Give me. Han Qian was stunned on the spot while holding the beer, when Wen Nuan suddenly spoke. Give it to Yan Hu first. I've been waiting for her. She is an outsider after all. What others don't want, I don't want either. Brother Qian, give it to me. Han Qian. Han Qian, who had been holding the bottle for a long time, frowned at the two women, and then nuzzled at Suliang. Light, it's yours. Just as Suliang was about to pick it up, two eyes pierced him like sharp swords. Suliang's hand shook and he didn't dare to pick it up. Han Qian closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He poured a glass for himself and drank it all. Then he placed two unopened beers in front of Yan Qingqing and Wen Nuan, turned around and shouted. Boss, here you are with two screwdrivers. Han Qian no longer wanted to wait on the two of them. The atmosphere at the wine table became more lively as he drank slowly. Yang Lan and Suliang had not drank. Yang Lan would drive someone away soon, and Suliang could not take injections. Drink wine. Just when Han Qian thought this would solve the problem, the two women simultaneously picked up the wine bottles and handed them to Han Qian, saying in unison. Open. At this moment, Han Qian just wanted to go home. He opened the beer with a screwdriver in one hand and placed it in front of the two women at the same time. Han Qian pushed the beer box towards Daqian. He couldn't do any more of this job. After 2 glasses of beer, Ji Jing asked with a blushing face curiously. Vice President Wen, Han Qian is so talented, why do you want to divorce him? Such a man should be firmly in your hands. Mentioning this matter, Wen Nuan lowered his head feebly, shook the draft beer cup gently, and replied in a low voice. He filed for divorce. This sentence made everyone's eyes widen. This. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 90. When Nuan didn't care about her own face and said that she dumped Han Qian. She also said yesterday that what she did at home was her business. Outside, she would save Han Qian's face. Of course, she knew in her heart that even if she said she dumped Han Qian would not refute. Feeling that the atmosphere had become a little solemn, Suliang leaned forward slightly and said softly, "Qian, do you regret it?" After this question was raised, Nuan turned to look at Han Qian. She was very worried and afraid that Han Qian would say the word no regrets. Seeing that the atmosphere was about to change again, Yan Qingqing curled her lips and looked sideways at Suliang and said, "Suliang, are you willing to marry a woman who can't cook, wash clothes, or clean housework, and she still has another man in her heart? Is there any more melon to eat?" This time, Yang Ian's eyes also became brighter, hoping to know something inside. Suliang scratched his head and didn't know how to answer. He also moved his warm eyes away from Han Qian, staring at Yan Qingqing coldly, and said sarcastically, "Ha! It's much cleaner than a woman like you who has no background but suddenly became the general manager of Glory, Yan Hu. My sister is not a woman like you who easily gives a man a chance." The eyes of the three women, Qian Wan, Ji Jing, and Yang Lan, fell on Yan Qingqing again. Yan Qingqing picked up the wine glass and drank the remaining half of the wine in one gulp. She slammed the wine glass on the table and bit it fiercely. The back molar said in a deep voice, "Sister is much cleaner than you, what? Why are you still pestering Han Qian when your childhood sweetheart is back? You have two boats? When Juiying, can you still drink it?" No one could bear this. When Nuan picked up the wine glass and drank a whole glass of wine. The wine glass also hit the table hard and made a loud noise. He straightened up and looked at Yan Qingqing with disdain and sneered. "Childhood sweethearts? Where did they come from? Lin Zongheng is just a child, what? Yan Hu, you only care about whether a man can sleep with you? Han Qian proposed a divorce and I agreed, but he owes me money. You have the right to live in his house and cling to him. You are a leader at work. Why are you pestering my Han Qian?" Today when Nuan has become sharper, which has a lot to do with her drinking. Han Qian has never seen Wen quarreling with others while drinking, and he doesn't want to get angry by interjecting. Yan Qingqing took a bottle of beer and put it in front of Wen. Sneered. "So Han Qian's creditor is you? Do you know how much Han Qian paid for this debt? Of course I also want to thank you. It is because of your debt that Han Qian came to Glory and became mine savior." Debt? Do I want debt? You don't know Han Qian. You don't know how proud he is in his bones, so he is talking nonsense here? I have been with Han Qian for 3 years, and I have seen him at his most depressed. I have been with him the growth of a man. What about you? If I give you a shopping mall plan, what do you think Han Qian has done to you? Let me tell you, it's just the rest of my sister's fun. Did the military uniform world reduce the turnover of your honor department store? My sister told me, that's what Han Qian gave me. From beginning to end. When Nuan opened the beer and filled Yan Qingqing's quilt, Yan Qingqing did not hesitate at all. She picked up the wine glass and drank it in one gulp. She put down the wine glass and took a deep breath. Then she smiled. This smile was very different from the enchanting one in the past. It was very innocent and pure. "Wen Juiying, no matter what you say. You have ruined Han Qian, and now I am giving Han Qian a chance. He can use his talents in Glory without any worries. Oops. I forgot to tell you, Han Qian also fed me at noon. It's time to eat, Ji Jing, you saw it, right? Haha, I thought it was a big deal. When Han Qian was in his hometown, he also fed his Huan, a shaggy dog. Yan Qingqing, let me tell you, no matter what, I have an advantage over you, do you know? My sister comes from a cleaner background than you. Wen Zhuiying, are you still a virgin? You have been married for 3 years and you are still a virgin. How glorious are you? Are you envious? Me too, do I need to envy you? The argument between the two women was no longer noticed. The eyes of the other 4 people all fell on Han Qian. Yang Lan had a bit of admiration in his eyes. He admired Han Qian's talent. Su Yang also admired him. Han Qian, what he admired was that these 2 fairy sisters were quarreling over him. Daqian looked like an idiot and probably didn't have anything serious in his mind. Han Qian could accept the looks of the 3 of them, except Ji Zheng's. From her expression and eyes, Han Qian could not tell that she was doubting that he was not good and that he was not a man. Han Qian wanted to run and ask for the toilet. As soon as he stood up, Yan Qingqing and Wen Nuan grabbed both arms at the same time and forced him down on the chair. Yan Qingqing grabbed Han Qian's arm and didn't let go. She laughed again. Tomorrow Han Qian will go to see Tu Xiao to stabilize my position in the company. Wen Nuan was neither angry nor jealous, and said softly. When I came here, I had already made an appointment with Tu Xiao's daughter to take her shopping tomorrow to buy some gifts. If Han Qian doesn't come back, Tu Kan can't do without me. Yan Hu, what do you always ask Han Qian to do for you? But I am thinking about Han Qian's safety. After all, isn't it Han Qian's talent that you value most? Why are you talking so nice? As for feeding, how can I not know Han Qian's attitude towards women better than you? 3 years. Compare your 3 weeks to my 3 years. Bibi, you 2 are also divorced. Now Han Qian is single. How can you be sure that we don't have 10 or 3 years? Drank too much. Definitely drunk. This was not the first time they met to test each other. The 2 of them were quarreling with each other. Han Qian wanted to leave but couldn't. He took a deep breath and said in a deep voice. 2 aunties, please give me Han Qian some thin noodles. Get lost. I'm annoyed by you. Wen Nuan shook off Han Qian's hand and turned his head to the other side. Yan Qingqing immediately let go of Han Qian and pouted. What others don't want, I don't want either. Han Qian tilted his head and looked at the 2 of them doubtfully, when Wen Nuan suddenly spoke. No. I have to give it to you. As long as my sister is here, you will never meet Han Qian in your life, you know. Yan Qingqing stood up and laughed, walked to Han Qian and put her arms around Han Qian's neck, and then licked Han Qian's face. Yes. Just lick. Empress Yasha used her ultimate move, and Wen was scared. She definitely couldn't lick Han Qian, but she dared to do it. She stood up and punched Han Qian hard in the stomach, cursing in a low voice. Hua Xin Karad. Go to hell. Wen Nuan turned around and left. Qianwan stood up to help Wen Nuan. She had drunk too much. Yan Qingqing also pushed Han Qian away, sat down, and put her arms around Ji Jing's neck. The 2 of them talked. Is this the end? Han Qian cursed these 2 scumbags in his heart. Were they fighting over each other just now? You don't want me anymore? Seeing that the time was almost up, Yang Lan stood up and said that he was going back to take care of Xiao Baibei. After watching Xiao Baibei for 2 days, Xiao Yangjie probably lost her temper. Ji Jing also stood up and followed Yang Lan, acting as Sul Yang. When he opened his mouth to leave with the 2 women, Han Qian lost his composure and tilted his head and asked. How can I send you off when you leave? I drank too. You call for driving, Qian. I don't dare to send these 2 aunts away. Don't blame brother, just take the first step. Vote.